admirer's names start with an M? Not bad, Doc, for so early in the morning. Sherry handed the letter to Murphy. I was comparing this handwriting with some of the other letters you've received from your deranged admirer. They're the same. Murphy held the envelope up to the light and saw what looked like a 3x5 card inside. So, why don't you open it? Murphy smiled. Sherry was forever curious about anything that might be mysterious. He opened the envelope, took out the card, and began to read. Row, row, row your boat gently around the lake. Walk and talk and have a piece of cake. Ride, ride, ride the trolley. Be sure to stop and visit Molly. Dance, dance, dance the choo-choo. Visit the zoo and casino, too. Round, round, round you go. Don't be depressed by the big tornado. Search, search, search and find. Be sure not to lose your mind. Seek, seek, seek like a mouse. You may even find a fun house. So much for poetry, said Sherry. What in the world do you think he means? Maybe he's finally lost it. Well, Methuselah is strange, eccentric, even sadistic. But he's not crazy. His clues and riddles have led us to many archaeological finds in the past. Murphy stroked his chin, lost in thought. He must have some new trophy for us to search for. Can you make heads or tails of this one? Murphy ran his fingers through his brown hair and paced around the room. Sherry just smiled and watched her boss. She knew it was best not to disturb him once the mental wheels were in motion. Murphy went to his computer and got on the internet. Sherry stepped behind him and watched dubiously as he typed in the words, amusement parks. After another 15 minutes of searching, he turned to her. I think I may have the answer to the riddle. Well, pray tell, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. Don't keep me in suspense. The first clue for me was the word trolley. At the turn of the century, one of the main modes of transportation in larger cities was the electrical trolley line. So, what does that have to do with the rest of the riddle? Hang on to your ponytails. It says here, electrical companies in the early 1900s charged the trolley companies a straight fee for the use of electricity. Regardless of the number of people that rode the trolley, the electrical fee was the same. Owners of the trolleys tried to devise a way to get more customers to ride. The plan they settled on was to build amusement parks at the end of the trolley lines. This would encourage more travel and generate more revenue. Not a bad idea, huh? I think maybe you're off your trolley this time. Cute, Sherry. Just hear me out. The phrase visit Molly is the key to the riddle. In 1910, Lakewood Amusement Park was built at the end of the trolley line in Charlotte, North Carolina. At that time, it was 3 miles west of the city. Its design was similar to that of Coney Island, and it became one of the most attractive parks in the South. How do you know all of this? Genevieve Murphy. Who is Genevieve Murphy? My grandmother. She used to live in Charlotte, and I would visit her in the summers. She would tell me stories about growing up in the South. One of her stories was about a trolley park with a lake. I remember her talking about riding on a roller coaster. She loved it. She would ride it 2 or 3 times each time she visited the park. Go on, I'm still listening. Lakewood Park had a lake with rowboats. Row, row, row your boat gently around the lake. Walk and talk and have a piece of cake. The lake had a walkway around it with concession stands. They also had a half-mile-long roller coaster formerly called the Scenic Railway. Its nickname was Molly's Madness. My grandmother sometimes referred to it as riding Old Molly. The park also had a merry-go-round that could seat 100 people. They had a shooting range, they had a petting zoo, they had a dance hall that was over part of the lake, and they had a casino. All of those attractions tie in with Methuselah's riddle. What about being depressed by the big tornado? I think that's the clincher, Sherry. In 1933, the Great Depression bankrupted Lakewood Park. People didn't have money to spend on rides and games. In 1936, a large tornado hit the area and trashed the park. The heavy rains that followed washed out the dam and caused the lake to overflow. Repairs were never made and the park closed for good. Bummer. Is there anything remaining from the original park today? No, I believe they built over that area years ago. There is one thing, however. There were rumors that the owners of the park were in the process of constructing an underground amusement area in the form of a funhouse. It was supposed to have rolling barrels, slides, roller bridges, a human roulette wheel, a maze of mirrors, and a ride called the Tunnel of Fear. And all of that was going to be built underground? That was the rumor. Maybe they did build it but didn't open it to the public. Maybe that's what the phrase, "Seek, seek, seek like a mouse, you may even find a funhouse," means. Methuselah is telling me to look for something, probably old building records that date back to the 1930s. The funhouse may still be there, somewhere underground in Charlotte. Sherry recognized the glint in Murphy's eye. "You're not really going to try and find out, are you? Need I remind you that Methuselah has tried to kill you on a number of occasions?" I know. But his clues have helped us find the golden head of Nebuchadnezzar, Noah's Ark, and the famous handwriting on the wall. I'm curious as to what new archaeological find he might lead us to." "That's just the problem. You're too curious." She might as well have been talking to the wall. His mind was already made up. Murphy's alarm sounded at 5 a.m. He moaned a little and shut it off. Well, time for a new adventure. He wanted to get up early enough to have breakfast and make the 2.5-hour drive from Raleigh to Charlotte. He had called the day he received Methuselah's riddle and found out that the Hall of Records opened at 9 in the morning. No telling what the old coot has in store for me, he thought. I'd better be prepared. Murphy loaded his backpack with water, a knife, a hatchet, a first aid kit, a compass, some rope, and a few other items. He looked around the room, trying to think of anything else he should bring along. Laser, he thought. He went to the closet and pulled out a black 5-foot-long by 1-foot-wide impact-resistant case that contained laser. He opened the case and smiled. His hand glided across the laminated carbon fiber compound bow. Instinctively, he checked the draw system of cables and eccentric pulleys mounted at the limb tips. They gave him the power to shoot an arrow as straight as a laser at up to 330 feet per second. This may come in handy. Who knows what Methuselah is up to this time? Ever since Murphy was a teenager, he'd been interested in archery. It was a precise discipline, and he had become a serious bow marksman. His perfectly aimed arrows would shoot like tiny guided missiles at their target. Laser had helped him on more than one occasion, even against one of Talon's falcons in the Pyramid of the Winds. 12 arrows, he thought. That should be enough. The trip to Charlotte gave Murphy time to think. He cringed as he remembered how Methuselah pitted him against a lion in the warehouse building in Raleigh. He still had the scar on his shoulder as a reminder. Then there was the Cave of the Waters, where he'd almost drowned trying to save the 2 German Shepherd puppies. And the time when Methuselah cut the cable he was walking on over the Royal Gorge in Colorado. Oh, yeah, and the rattlesnakes that dropped on him in the Reed gold mine. Methuselah is one very strange man, he thought. He must sit awake nights dreaming up these traps for me. And I just keep playing the game his way, risking my life to try to solve his riddles. So who's the crazy one? Murphy stopped first at the main library. He spent an hour looking through old newspaper clippings from the Charlotte Gazette. He was about to quit when he saw a small article dated April 12, 1929. Tunnel of Fear. Jesse P. East and Roland Callants, owners of the Lakewood Park and Trolley Company, have planned a new attraction at their park. It is to be called the Tunnel of Fear. It will be a ride only for the brave of heart. It will be part of a new underground fun house. Construction will begin in September and should take no longer than 1.5 years to complete. This reporter has been told that the construction cost may mount to an astounding $53,000. Floyd Cornford, reporter. Murphy took a deep breath. Well, Methuselah said to search, 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 and find. Murphy spent the next 4 hours in the County Hall of Records, mostly working his way through the endless red tape and the frustration of government bureaucracy. He had to invoke the Freedom of Information Act with a number of different people before he finally got to look at some plans. He gradually realized that the names of streets on the old maps were not the same.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.